It is time to work on lesson 12-2. So turn in your book, please, to page 705. 705. Today, not only are we analyzing line plots, but we're going to be making line plots. So go ahead and turn to 705 and let's get started. Okay, a fifth grade class recorded the data of the height, of each student. How could you organize this data? And they ask us specifically there, make a line plot to solve the problem. Okay, on the little chalkboard, they've written the heights of the students in grade 5, and they've rounded them each to the nearest ½ inch. So they've given you a list of numbers. What I went ahead and did was I made a tally chart, and you've probably used a tally chart since you were in about the 2nd grade. I took and I organized all of the values. So I saw 50, and I saw it twice, and I put how often it occurs, or its frequency, 2 times, same as my tallies. 50 and a half, it occurs 6 times, so 6 tallies, 6 times. 52 inches occurs twice, so I put a 2. 55, I put 5 tallies, occurs 6 times. 58 and a half, I put 2 tallies, occurs twice, and 60 inches, 2 tallies, occurs twice. So I made this to kind of help me organize. It is very difficult to look at their list of numbers there because they're all out of order, right? We like to have them in a nice, neat place to put our data. So if you want to pause the video and copy this, you are more than welcome to. It only took me a minute. Okay, from there, I took this information and I made a line plot. Now, I noticed that all of my numbers were between 50 and 60. So my line plot, I started a little bit before, but my line plot goes from 50 to 60 basically. I don't really have to have this 48 there if I don't want to. I could keep, because I have the arrows, I could keep extending it either way. So mine goes from 50 to 60. I put, because I have 2 tallies for 50, I put 2 dots above it. I could have also put X's if I wanted to. Then I had 6 for 50 and a half. So I put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. On my tally chart, I have 2 for 52. I put 2. I have 6 for 55. So I put here at 55, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 2 for 58 and a half. So 1, 2. And 2 for 60, 1, 2. Now, it's really important when you're making your line plot that your dots or your X's, whatever you're using, you line them up horizontally, because if you make some dots really close together and some dots really far apart, it'll skew the way it looks. Now, just looking at this, what can we tell? What can you tell? Most students are either how tall, in inches. Either 50 and a half inches or 55 inches, that's right. At the bottom, it says, how does organizing the data help you see the height that occurs most often? So how does doing a tally chart and a line plot, how do those help us see which ones occur most often? If we were just looking at that list, would it be easy for us to pick out which ones occur the most often? Probably not, it's very unorganized, right? Organizing it helps a ton, putting it in numerical order to see which numbers occur the most. Okay. Check out their example on page 706 with me, please. The dogs in Paulina's pet shop have the following weights. The weights are in pounds. How can you organize this information into a line plot? And it says measurement data that is organized is easier to use. So they've given you weights there, and they're unorganized. They're all mumble jumbled up. Look at box B, organize the data. First thing they did was they wrote all of the numbers in order from least to greatest. They just made a list of all the numbers from least to greatest. Then you can also organize the data in a frequency table. That's kind of what I just said. A frequency table is the same thing as a tally chart. It shows how often something occurs. That's what I was looking to say. The frequency is how many times a given response occurs. So they show you the dog's weights in pounds, the tally, and the frequency, how often it occurs. Then in box C, they finally get to make their line plot. First, draw the number line using an interval of 1/4. Why did they use 1/4 as intervals? Well, if you look back at their numbers, most of them have fractions, right? And there's halves and there are fourths. So they thought fourths would be a good combination. Then mark a dot for each value in the data set. Write a title for the line plot. So what is their title? Weight of dogs, They put 2 above 6, 1 above 7 1/4, 3 above 8 1/2, 1 above 11 1/2, and 5 above 12 1/4. At the bottom, it asks you questions about it where we analyze which weight occurs the most often. Well, which one has the most dots? Which line is the tallest? Right, 12 1/4 pounds. Which weight occurs the least often? And actually there is a tie here. Which two occur the least often? 7 1/4 and 11 1/2 pounds. Good. Last question, how can you tell from the line plot these things? Well, if you look at the line plot, you can just count the amount of dots above, right? Or you can look literally at their heights. Good. Okay. I think you can continue to do this by yourself. I really do. Let me help you set up number 3 because it does use fractions. And then I think you're going to be good to go. Okay. Look at number 3. Draw a line plot to represent the data. So they've given you weight of pumpkins. There's the weights, the tally, and the frequency. Now look at the weights, guys. Kind of like the last one we just looked at, I see some of them have fractions and some of them are halves and some of them are fourths. So what would be a good unit for us to go by on our number line? Probably fourths. Yes, that's right. Okay. So what is the least number here? What's the least number on our chart? 3 1/2. So mine's actually going to start at 3. And what's the greatest number on our chart? 8 1/2. Now, would 8 be enough? No, I can make it end at 9. Okay, so mine's going to start at 3 and end at 9. So I need to fill in the rest of that, right? So just do the best you can. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Mine is not perfect. Yours doesn't have to be either. I want this to be in fourths, though. So how many hash marks do I need to have in between each of the numbers? That's right. 3 slices makes 4 pieces. So every one of these needs to have 3 hash marks in between. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Okay. Now, let's go to our data chart. Let's go to our tally chart. 3 1/2 has how many? 2. So go to where you see 3 1/2 and put 2 dots above it. 5 1/4 has 3. So go to 5 1/4 and do 1, 2, 3. Also, I didn't say this, but I'm sure you know, half is the same as how many fourths? 2 fourths. Good. Okay. 7 pounds has 4. So above 7, you need to do 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 8 1/2 has 1. Same as 2 fourths. Something's missing on here. What's missing? A title. What's the title going to be? Good. Weight of pumpkins. And at the bottom, we can label that this represents the numbers in pounds. Okay, guys, y'all did a fantastic job. I am missing you bunches, and I hope math is going great for you. Check out your packet to see which numbers you need to do for today's lesson. Bye, friends.